the squad, which is
let me get it up.
Going from cloud 9 to wherever you want to put that.
Yeah.
So obviously England play Australia, massive game in Italy, which is quite an important fixture in the qualifiers. The usual September, October, November fixtures are upon us, so don't worry, guys. There's some more coming up in November as well.
Amazing. Thank God.
Yeah.
What would we do without it?
Here's the squad. Nobody cares.
Right, on to topic 3. Eden Hazard return.
Yeah.
In terms of the squad, though, you look at it and it's oh God, it's the same old record, isn't it? You look at there's 3 names now, thanks to one's player's decision to move in the summer. 3 players now that I think, why are you there? And there's an arguable 4th. So if we're going to break it down, do we even need to talk about Harry Maguire and Calvin Phillips? They don't play football. Do you know what I mean? He's just come back in and he played quite well, actually, Harry Maguire. The problem is Gareth Southgate just likes him in his team, doesn't he? And that in itself, he's a manager. He knows what he can get out of him. That's fair enough, I guess. It's an old argument, isn't it, to talk about Maguire and Calvin Phillips.
I mean, we're arguing about Maguire in the pre-season, before the first season of the Talk Nonsense podcast, of why he should be in this club nearly 2.5 years later. Oh, Lord.
One that I wanted to talk to you boys about, obviously it's a player that's close to my heart, but I'd like to get an opinion of an England fan that, you know, doesn't care about him as much. Jordan Henderson. I for one, personally think it's ludicrous that a player from the English Championship can't play for England under Gareth Southgate. It's basically a Gareth Southgate law, isn't it? Said it about Grealish. He's now said it about Conor Cody playing for Leicester. Regardless how good you're playing, you cannot play for England whilst you're in the Championship. But if you play in the Saudi League, you can play for England. For me, that is ludicrous. Another to add to the list of ludicrous Gareth Southgate quotes, decisions, etc. But I'd like to ask you boys, obviously I'm a Liverpool fan and I don't think he should be there, but maybe you have a view that maybe thinks actually he's a vital player as well, just like Maguire or Calvin Phillips, who should be in and around it. I'd be interested to hear what you boys think of that.
Well, if you look at the midfielders, first, just to divvy away from that a little bit, Alexander-Arnold being a midfielder is a bit odd as well, but that's just an admin issue. I mean, who do you replace Jordan Henderson with? That's the question, really. There's one
James Ward-Prowse.
That's exactly it. The one screaming from West Ham straight away, and there's several others. I mean, you could have one in each side. You could even go for, if you really wanted to, Sean Longstaff. You know, it got that ridiculous because he's still in the Premier League. He can go down to the Championship. Like, say, isn't the Saudi League the 27th highest rated league in the world? Championship is the 5th, I believe, in terms of viewership anyway. So the credit is there, and the hypocrisy of having the 3 that you mentioned is just it's almost, it makes you nihilistic at this point. Like, what's the point of even trying to argue against it?
It is pointless, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for me, I just think that, but I could easily, be a little bit, and I've said to you boys before we press record, like, I have a real disdain for international football, which I can go into, but I'll put that to the side for now. So I want to try and at least humour this topic for a sec. Now, the only thing that for me, because I do not put any emotion to this argument. I think the England team is, I won't go into that anyway. But I think that as a manager, similar to what we said about Postecoglou to a point, is when I said about the FA Cup, how you choose your team in the cup games, is like, does he look at his squad and say, I want to build a harmony with a set group of players. Because I know these are the players that they had a pretty successful Euros, and this is a team where that really there was a lot of good buzz around. So he might be saying, well, hang on, these players, I need to keep them going. And if he's got a soft spot for Harry Maguire and Calvin Phillips, he's going, well, I want them in my squad because I want to show them, and I'll hopefully through them show the world that they are still valuable footballers. I don't agree with that. I think that there's a massive moralistic issue here with how they should pick the team. However, if he came out and was more honest, I think a lot of people would find it palatable if he did. Because let's be honest, it's not stupid. We all kind of guess why he's doing it. Because he can't turn around and say, I'm picking players on form. That's a joke, right? he has to say, I'm picking players that I believe are valuable to my squad, and treat it a bit like a club. Treat it like a club team instead of an international team, which I don't agree with. But that's the only logical thing, because he might say, well, I don't want to disrupt the harmony by bringing in a Longstaff or a Ward-Prowse or a number of players that would say, hang on, I've been knocking at the door here. He'd be saying, no, but this is my little team. These are the guys that I trust, and I know that this is this. And it's like, if he at least came out and said it, then at least you can't go, oh, fine, Harry Maguire, yeah, he's been good for England in the past. He couldn't knock skin off a rice pudding right now, but that's the way it is, And I just find international football so, I've had enough of it, honestly. My view is this. I'm going to put it out there right now, and I'm going to end it right here. International football should be the prize for having a good season. Every other year, we have a competition, which means every other year, they should have 6 weeks of the qualifying for that. Fuck friendlies off. Friendlies are a joke, I believe. Friendlies are literally about putting money in someone's pocket.
Money. Yeah.
End of the season, you say these are the best 25 English players this season. I'm putting them to the test. They're going to qualify for next year's Euros or World Cup. Next year, you have the Euro or the World Cup. And then just let the season play out. And those little shitty weeks that they're taking up in the season, just make the season a little bit shorter and then give the players an extra little bit of a break at the end of it. Because I don't understand these international breaks. It disrupts everything. And if James Maddison, I swear to God, I will kneecap Gareth Southgate if James Maddison gets it.
But this is it. Yeah. Injuries. We haven't even touched injuries. The fact that we talk about player welfare and how many games these players are playing. Obviously, with James Maddison, being out of that cup, he's got 2 cup competitions this season. So touch wood, he won't have a massive workload. But you look at Manchester United, Manchester City players, Liverpool players in the Europa League playing Thursday, Sunday. It's genuinely ludicrous sometimes. We're playing friendlies against teams. People watch it because there's nothing else on. Yeah, I watched England-Scotland, was it? I think. Yeah, England-Scotland. Yeah. It was like a centenary memorial game. Fair enough. Nobody history, that's fine. But I watched it because there's nothing else on TV. And it's just disrupting. I've mentioned this to you, Charlie, before we started recording. Manchester United fans, not even a dig at them, they managed to get the win in dramatic circumstances on the weekend. They'll be made up with this break to get away from what has been happening and the rot that had set in, to get away from it with a lucky little win at the end and regroup after it. We've had a break now. We start fresh. Tottenham, you're top of the league. Why do you want to break? You want to keep playing and keep winning games and keep beating people. It's honestly, I don't think anybody in the world likes it. And that's what makes it so frustrating and annoying that we have to keep watching it. And these silly games. You're so right, Charlie. You're so right.
2 little points. Firstly, I had to search Sean Longstaff. I was worried in case he was Scottish. He's not. That's fine. A little quiz for you, a little tiny quiz. England's last 4 games, boys. Do you remember them? What were they?
Last 4 games.
This sort of adds to the point, doesn't it?
Didn't we play Italy recently?
Italy's next, isn't it?
No.
We
played
them.
No.
We played
Wales.
We played Scotland.
No.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the last game. That was in 12th of September. There was one 3 days before that.
It's always like San Marino or like
it was someone rubbish as well, wasn't it?
It was really San Marino. It's always San
Malta.
Malta was the 4th last.
Trent scored a screamer, didn't he? Yeah,
he did.
Well done for remembering that.
That was the other positive.
So we beat North Macedonia. That was the 16th of June. The 19th of June, we beat North Macedonia 7-0.
Told you, I knew it would sound like Macedonia and Montenegro.
And we drew 1-1 to Ukraine when we went 0-0 down.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
So that shows how irrelevant it was.
Do you know what I'm going to say? Do you know what's just hit me there? Is that the only thing that just pinged me with a bit of the soft sponge there a little bit was I thought, hang on, is this a charity thing where these little clubs actually, and these fans of these smaller countries get to see the Harry Kanes of this world? Is it like that? Is it like when Spurs went to bloody Marine and they have to bring on Gareth Bale in someone's back garden just to pull a bit of money in? Is it like that? Do you know what I mean?
That's the nice. It's the innocent side of it, but it also makes it.
I'll accept that to a point. Do you know what? Actually, that's the only way I'll accept it, is if it is a good way of expanding football into some countries that haven't quite got the quality that we've got. I get that to a point, but it is farcical. I'm sorry. It is farcical. I literally give more shit about well, I couldn't even think of anything. I can't be bothered. Let's like have international football. I was having this conversation, right, with my new father-in-law, Beth's lovely dad, right, and he loves international football. And and I hope this doesn't sound, I mean it in the nicest way possible. I hope it doesn't come across in some weird way. He's not English, but he loves the England team. So I love that about him. But he's from Northern Ireland, right? Now, I'm guessing that the Northern Irish Football League isn't all that. So maybe that's why he likes international football, because he hasn't got anything better to watch. He's a big City fan, which I don't hold against him, to be fair. And I think, is it just a generational thing? Because even my dad still goes, I do like international football. It's like, yeah, but they're looking at, all the Euros and the World Cups that they've watched and all the greats of Maradona and Pele and all this. And maybe they've still got a bit of a, a rose-tinted glasses view on it. Whereas for us, I think
the tournaments are amazing.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
It's just everything else.
Just literally everything else.
Oh my God.